What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Vermont Scale Customs. Checking out some Treal terrain burner tires. 22 by 62, 1 inch. I threw those on some stamped steel beadlocks. Not a bad tire. I vented them just because I didn't want to have to deal with how, I don't know, unpredictable unvented tires can be. But I was hoping that these would be a little different than they are. Perhaps breaking in was maybe going to help a little bit, but at least for now, I am still convinced that the RC four-wheel drive Scrambler is and always will be pretty much the de facto tire for a lot of rigs. It's such a versatile tire, and it seems to just work on every single rig that you put it on, as long as it's got room to work. But line for line, it's tough to say. You know, the Scramblers are pretty soft, and so they definitely collapse in certain situations. So these hold on a little bit longer in a couple spots. I decided to take it off the cliff dive, which goes horribly wrong here in a second. You kind of need to get both tires off that ledge at the same time. That didn't work out. But I decided to keep going. I think this was the second trip up this, so I kind of knew halfway where I needed to point this thing. And when things get to the top, which it does make it, I can say that the Scramblers had not made it that far with as much confidence, without as much slipping, and so on and so forth. Scramblers are really good tires. They conform really well, but they kind of lack the corner bite that additional sipes have, like these have, and the spacing in between them. This was kind of a first as well. Well, the second time I'd made it up here, but decided to do it with a little more authority this time. So, first ascent there for sure. Which kind of makes me want to just sort of break these tires in a little bit more to see if, one, they soften up a little bit more. The rubber kind of breaks in a little bit. And I put little guy foams in these, so I'm not concerned about, you know, any issues with that. I need more weight. I was thinking about throwing different rims on these to see if they will compress a little bit more. They've got a fairly stiff sidewall. The tread is fairly thick, so I think it kind of keeps the tire from doing what it's supposed to do. So maybe if it had a little more weight. But I don't want to make this rig too heavy, but keeping the weight down low is not a bad idea. But I'm certainly glad I put a roof rack on this truck. It saves it quite a few times, and it has already. So I include that in the video. But this was from last night. I think these showed up 2 days ago, and I had thrown them on. And yesterday was the first chance I had to really kind of spend some time driving with them. I do like them. They don't collapse nearly as much as what the Scramblers do, so they kind of hold up in a certain couple situations. I think it's kind of good to depend upon the tire to do the work of what a lot of like foam and tire insert stuff's doing. And me, I'm always just kind of endlessly in search of like the perfect combination to make all that work without committing to running one thing or another. You know, I don't want to become dedicated to... I'm pretty dedicated to foams, but I also like doing different stuff with foams, dual stage, or trying to use like Scotch Brite with foam to kind of dual stage with that. Other random stuff. And I know it made this climb at the very beginning, but I decided to do it one more time because I like it so much. This time it's just not quite as clean. But it's good to at least showcase that these do hold up pretty well on a side hill, and their corner traction is really, really good. They seem to bite pretty well and hook up. It's just about providing enough wheel speed to get them to do the rest of the job. And here's where I say, like, just the biting with the tread pattern on these, it works pretty well. It seems to hook up on this kind of rock. And that air conditioner shuts off in a minute here, I promise. But this is this is kind of a cool up because you'll see in a second, it kind of pushes the right front all the way out to the very edge on both rocks as it's coming up. I was fairly impressed by this right here. It's just barely got the tiniest little bit hung on the edge of that, and it stuck to it, so. Scramblers struggled with this. I worked endlessly on this line 2 days ago and was not able to make it. This one, all it took was just putting the tires in the front tires in the right position, and it found its line. Coming down this too was considerably easier. Just a couple of wiggles to set things in a little bit. Obviously portals, make things a little, you got to just pay attention to your balance points. I'm pretty happy with this rig, to be honest with you, and this line is kind of testimonial to it. The drivetrain in this thing actually turned out really well. I know it's noisy, but that's because it's sitting on portals. But one would think that a top-heavy truck with a roof rack on it and everything else like this wouldn't drive nearly as well as what it does, and I'm super impressed with it. And it doesn't really have that much weight down low. But it's a great combination of looks and performance for me, which, I don't know. I kind of like both. I like my comp rigs, but I also like cool trucks. So this kind of has like I said, it's a good blend of both. I also threw this at that vertical climb that this did very well with the scramblers. The scramblers seem to eat this up pretty well. They shined on this, and so this truck does pretty well with it. Which again, I think it's just a matter of getting these broken in, getting that rubber softened up and used and beaten up a little bit. They're brand new, they're fresh. There we go. So this showcases the need for the roof rack right here. This was pretty essential. Anyway, if you're still here, thanks again for watching. Just a little bit of time inside. So, take it easy out there. I don't know if I really recommend these tires or not. I'll get back to you on that. The truck's fun though. 39mm shocks. See you later.